Food and workouts and everything like that. The living works in my life because I don't want others to miss heaven. Hello and welcome back to the Root Network. I am excited about what we're going to be talking about today. I want to ask you a question. Are you sinking in life because of too much thinking? We've been teaching a great series here at World Changers Houston and just getting a revelation on the fact that oftentimes we find ourselves in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of circumstances, and that happens. John 16:33, Jesus literally talks about the fact that we'll have many trials and some circumstances that may happen, but we can be of good cheer because he's already overcome the world. He's already overcome the situations and the circumstances that you're going to face. But even greater than that, he's overcome their ability to impact and affect your life. And if you don't find yourself rooted in a faith that understands the truth of that revelation, you will find yourself surrounded by circumstances, surrounded by situations, and you will take too much thought about those things, and it'll cause you to begin to sink. If we look at Matthew chapter 14, verse 22, we find the disciples having had just finished feeding the 5,000, along with Jesus. A miraculous thing had taken place. With just a little bit of food, Jesus fed 5,000 men, which didn't include the women and children. So it was actually well more than that. In verse 22, in the Amplified, it says, then he directed the disciples. They had just witnessed this mighty miracle. And then he directed the disciples to get into the boat and go before him to the other side while he sent away the crowds. Now, they just had understood very well that, this is the Son of God. I mean, he just created a miracle and he just did something that we've never seen before. So whatever he says, we ought to do it because we should be trusting that it'll happen. That's what you would think that would have been on their mind. But it kind of shows you the human condition, that you can even be with Jesus physically and still find yourself having to grow and mature in your faith. So he directed them to get in the boat and go before him to the other side. Verse 23 says, and after he had dismissed the multitudes, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. When it was evening, he was still there alone. Verse 24, but the boat was by this time out on the sea. It says many furlongs. A furlong is 1/8 of a mile. So it was out there, many of those, distant from the land, beaten and tossed by the waves, for the wind was against them. And then it says, in the fourth watch between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning of the night, Jesus came to them walking on the sea. So they're out there in trouble now. Now, they've already heard him say, hey, get in the boat and go before me to the other side. And I'm sure they were sitting in the boat. Then the storm begins and they begin to get a little worried. Verse 26 says, and when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified and said, it is a ghost. And they screamed out with fright. Verse 27, but instantly he spoke to them saying, take courage. I am. Stop being afraid. Now, I want to pause right there and help you understand something very simple that's true today. That no matter what you're going through in your life, he is. That's powerful. He is. He is your healing. He is your deliverance. He is your breakthrough. He is your change. He is your growth. He is your prosperity. He is. So stop freaking out. Stop being terrified. Stop being afraid. You are in the position that you're in by following him. Thank you so much for watching the Root Network with us on today. We're so glad to be able to share how to be fruitful from the root to the fruit in every area of your life. Make sure that you like this, that you share this, that you subscribe to this so that you can continue to help us spread this gospel of grace and this ability to be fruitful all over the world. Again, remember you're victorious and we thank God for you. We'll see you next time on the Root Network.